I'm Gray Thompson. You're listening to the FET College Football Podcast. I'm joined by someone I would vote for in any election, including one full of women who smell better, but he smells the best. Jay Spivey, Vitamin J.
Vitamin J is here.
What's up, Jay?
Man, I am so thrilled after Clemson being off for a week to actually care again about college football.
Care again?
Well, I cared, but, I mean, we had Oktoberfest and Fall for Greenville and Scots and Brats and everything else.
A very busy weekend between us at FET.
And now, you know, I can concentrate back on college football again and know that 3:30 this Saturday I'm going to be sitting at home in front of my television with my snacks and my ashtray and my whatever, so I can live through the stress of Clemson playing NC State.
I was about to say, and your Clemson Tigers.
You know, Clemson, number 3.
True.
NC State, number 16.
Clemson didn't lose this week.
No, they didn't. And they actually moved up. Maybe that's the secret. You could be number 1 if you just skip 2 more weekends.
That was the lesson to be learned this week, was you don't have to be faster than the bear. You just have to be faster than your buddy who gets eaten by the bear, which was 4 of the top 8 teams lost, 8 of the top 25. It was not boring, and this happens every year. And all the talk last week was, why hasn't this happened yet? Here we are.
Here we are. And we haven't even gotten to November, which is when the crazy stuff really does happen. But Clemson, NC State, Clemson's favored by 17.
Seems like a lot to me.
It does seem like a lot to me, too.
2 undefeated teams.
Right.
At Clemson.
Right.
No college game day, which is a little bit of a story around here because they're going to Washington State against Oregon.
I guess they have to get out there at some point.
They've never been there before, but, you know, was it last year or 2 years ago that college game day did 3 games with Clemson? They weren't all at home, but maybe that's why. Maybe there's a little bit of fatigue, but I'm sort of a little disappointed. I think Clemson's done a really good job showing up at games. It looks like it's going to rain some Saturday, but for now they're saying it's just going to be in the morning. But don't worry about game day.
No, I think
it's fine.
I think rain plays into Clemson's favor maybe a little bit.
How do you feel about the 17-point spread?
I don't like it. I think it's actually too much.
Is it too high to count for you?
It's too high to count against NC State because they always play tough. Now, there is, I think, a vengeful rivalry between these two now.
A little bit.
Coaches seem to get along well when they're together, but when they're apart, they seem to badmouth the other school.
Let me ask you how you feel about Coach Dave Doran.
Boring.
Boring. That's a very nice, polite, descriptive term to use for Doran.
I think he's a really good coach and has done a great job for NC State.
Do you really? He's one of the few coaches I really don't like. Yeah.
There's something about his personality I'm not wild about. And
I don't think he's a good leader.
Well, we'll find out if they lose to Clemson again, like they have the last few years. And if they have a chance to win and don't, then it just means that NC State can't coach in a big game.
Do you think that'll be the case? Do you think Clemson performs better after a bye week?
Yeah.
So do I.
And I think the running game could be shocking in the second half because once they start wearing them out just a little bit and you bring in, Etienne is still
one of the top rushers in the country, if not number 1.
He's still one of the top rushers and has a game off. And in the first game, didn't carry all that much.
No.
So you've got like 4 games where he played a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, he could really end up being the special little thing, and this may be further evidence of how good he is. And it might tell us something about both NC State's defense and Clemson's offensive line.
It should, and it has to. Clemson, I don't know what you really can game plan for on defense for NC State against Clemson because, and what we saw with the past 2 games Clemson has, the safeties would play outside the hashes. Hell, they would play outside the numbers because as soon as the ball would snap, they would run to the edge to try to stop guys like Etienne. And that leaves the middle of the field open for a guy like Trevor Lawrence. That's not good either.
I think Hunter Renfrow, because of the running game, could have a big game against NC State.
Would you kindly run for office alongside Hunter Renfrow?
Renfrow Spivey in 2020. I'll be his vice president.
2020 and beyond.
Because he does everything well. Why not?
But NC State, believe it or not, number 1 in which category? Would you like to guess? It's an offensive category. See, I figured you hadn't watched much NC State this year. You're surprised they're undefeated, though, right?
Yeah.
So am I. They're number 1 in third down conversions.
Well, that's because
something like 61%.
That's because he's a great quarterback.
Okay, and they protect him well.
Yeah.
Obviously, they haven't faced a defensive line quite like Clemson's, but Clelin Ferrell has sort of struggled to get pressure on quarterbacks this year the way I expected him to.
Right.
They're going to have to against NC State. NC State, however, has not been good at scoring in the red zone. Hell, they haven't been good at scoring inside the 40, but particularly touchdowns. I think the last game they had 3 of 6 scoring drives inside the red zone, and the other 3 is 0.
I think this is really going to come down to 3 things. What kind of day does Trevor Lawrence have? Mm-hmm. What kind of day does the NC State quarterback have?
Okay.
And is the Clemson offensive line going to be able to block so they can run? And I think those 3 things, if Trevor and Finley have a great day, the scoreboard could get lit up.
Good.
I don't know how good or bad NC State's defensive backs are. Clemson can lose a few over-the-top battles.
They're good. Again, that problem becomes, what do the defensive backs do when you see Feaster or ETNT back there? It's tough. They're so complete on offense.
And I just don't think NC State hasn't developed much of a run game themselves. So it is going to be the dinking all over the field between tight ends, running backs, wide receivers, and all that. And either that's going to work great and NC State's going to have the day of their lives, or it's not going to work. If it doesn't work and Clemson can just solely worry about the pass game, in the end, by the end of the game, I think Clemson will wear them out.
I think Tennessee sucks. Oh my gosh, are we still talking about NC State? Look.
Well, let's switch over that. I mean, that's enough on Clemson.
Are you going with the point spread on this one before we switch?
No.
I am. It's at home. Like you said, it's after a bye week. It's a revenge game. They're so complete on offense. Plus Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah. And I can live with not winning that game because I was wrong about the point spread. Mm-hmm. I can live with that.
Clemson has a tendency to over-pursue on blitzes, particularly on third down. They have to know that they can't do that against this NC State team, but my guess is they probably will. That might open the turnover ball for Clemson in their favor, so we'll see. That's what I'm looking to see.
And Clemson's Achilles heel, every big game, please cover the damn tight ends. Please. Please. Because that seems to always burn them.
NC State has some elite wide receivers. Their tight ends are B-minuses. They're not elite. They're not Sternbergers.
But still, if they're open.
Yeah, they're not O.J. Howards.
Well, let's move to Alabama.
Roll Tide.
So, Alabama plays your least favorite team in the country this weekend.
It's not my least favorite, Jay. I hate them.
You know.
Matt Morgan making an appearance. Matt Morgan, do you hate Tennessee?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
See,
Matt Morgan hates Tennessee.
Even Matt Morgan hates Tennessee.
They suck pretty bad.
There you go. You know, we heard it. We heard it
Matt
from
has
the
no
source.
idea what we're talking about, but he has hate in his heart for Tennessee, and that's what makes him a good soul, a good person.
I think he had a bad band experience in Tennessee.
When I was living in Tuscaloosa, Tennessee kicked our butts. Alabama has lost more games to Tennessee than any other team in the country. They've also beaten Tennessee more than any other team in the country. It's a hateful rivalry. If you're a Tennessee fan, you know what it is. You know what's up. And if you had a podcast, you'd be saying the same thing about Alabama. I saw Phil Fulmer, the AD, in the locker room standing next to the coach singing, that stupid Alabama song about we don't give a damn about the whole state of Alabama. You know what? I do. Roll Tide. Congratulations on your first win in the SEC for over a year. Nearly 2 years.
They look kind of good.
No, they don't. They're so bad in that orange, that puke orange, that pumpkin rot.
Well, it's that kind of worn out. It's that worn out orange. You know, like it's been faded over time.
Like it used to be red, but it just got a fungus on it.
Well,
yeah.
They used to say that they sent Clemson's uniforms to Tennessee after they've kind of faded and worn them out.
Wore them out.
But
just thinking of getting worn out.
29.5-point favorite Alabama.
What's the difference between $1 and Tennessee?
Nothing.
You can get 4 quarters out of $1. The point spread on the road at Knoxville, I believe, is 17 points. Is that right?
29.5.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm going with it. Roll Tide.
Wow. Now,
Tua has something of a knee problem.
Well,
and he needs to be benched. I wouldn't play him at all. If there's even the slightest risk of him being injured more, I wouldn't play him at all because, like I said, this is a hate. Nobody else understands it because Tennessee's been down for a long time. They are trending up. I still think they're the most improved team in the SEC.
Right.
They sort of control their own destiny in the East, but not really after a loss to Georgia and Florida. There are question marks from top to bottom, but the game against Auburn on the road, Auburn scored late to make it look a little closer, but Tennessee was just a better team.
Yeah, that's hard to believe.
Garantano, I have a hard time saying his name.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to be objective here, but he had a really good day. That's it. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Now,
They suck. I hate him.
Georgia
We don't like him.
Georgia was off.
Georgia?
No, they're off this week, but they were off this past weekend.
Well, I'm not done hating on Tennessee. We have a special interview.
I just hate Tennessee, man. Like, and I hate Neyland Stadium. It looks like a garbage truck worker convention.
True.
And I hate all their quarterbacks. I hate Tennessee, man.
We love Brock Koonce, but we just don't like Tennessee.
And it's not that orange that you can stand. See, I hate Tennessee more than I hate Auburn. I just dislike Auburn. I hate Tennessee. See, Tennessee's colors is that throw-up orange. It's not that orange that you can sit with. It's that puke inside of a pumpkin orange. And I don't like
That's so funny.
I don't like pumpkins.
That's so funny.
I can't stress that enough, man.
But you're saying
I'm just going to let it go. Nobody likes them. Nobody wants them.
So if Alabama gets up by 15, 20 points, you want them to take 2 out of the game.
I don't think Tua should play at all in this game. Tennessee is not fantastic, and particularly where Alabama's had strengths. Look, Alabama's still struggling a little bit to run, but against Missouri at home this weekend, they went with controlling clock, especially in the second half.
And I'll tell you one thing,
Jalen Hurts beat him every time, including Knoxville. He put on a hell of a performance last time he visited up there. It was embarrassing to the Vols. Now, mind you, that was with Butch Jones and company, which he represented that orange particularly puke well.
Taking Tua, putting Tua on the bench, you cannot win the Heisman from the bench.
Yeah, but Tennessee doesn't hurt your Heisman campaign either.
But if he doesn't play, it does.
A 3-3 team? No, it doesn't help.
It doesn't help.
No matter how much I say this a rivalry, no matter how much Tennessee hates Alabama, which they do, it doesn't matter because they're 3-3 right now, and they're going to get bludgeoned. They're going to get embarrassed. They're going to get buried.
If you were going to predict the score, what would you say?
600-3. Tennessee will kick another damn field goal so they don't get a 0. They've done that before in the last 5 years. I can't stand them.
I just don't know where you stand on this game. All right. Georgia had kind of a bad...
Now you know.
Georgia had a bad weekend.
Yeah, this one... Georgia on the road at LSU. LSU was playing pretty well. Georgia was also playing well. They were running the ball a lot, or I should say effectively and efficiently. It was something like 8 yards per carry on the run for the first quarter into the second. Then they just decided they weren't going to play that game. It seemed like Kirby Smart had a plan that didn't involve anything having to do with what he saw on the field. Right. He had a plan going into LSU because he just really, really, really didn't want to lose this game. They practiced all week for this fake field goal when they were at their own 31, I think. So a makeable field goal with Blankenship, who's outstanding. Right. It was 4th and 9, which obviously it goes back even further when you hike the ball. LSU was ready for it. They were prepared. Georgia didn't need to do it. Fromm was not outstanding. LSU was able to get to Fromm all day long. They didn't really do what they needed to do. The coaches lost this game in a big way. They made Georgia look even worse. But don't forget, Georgia did the same thing at Auburn last year, and we all said, what the hell? Next thing you know, they win the SEC. Right. They go to the national championship game, nearly beat Alabama for a title. And
is it time for Georgia to switch insurance companies?
No more Jig from State Farm.
Do they need to get more progressive? Yeah. So,
dog insurance.
The one thing good for Georgia is they're off this weekend.
Yeah, that kind of sucks too. When you have a loss like that, and especially for them, they take it really to heart.
I guarantee you,
I still think Georgia's one of the better teams, and I hate to see coaches get in the way. James Franklin has done that before. He sort of did it again this weekend at home against Michigan State with a late loss. I'm surprised to see it come from Kirby Smart summoning the ghost of Mark Richt. It was not it was not a well-coached game. It looked like they just cared too much.
Right.
and didn't pay attention to what was working. And Georgia should know better. And
Well,
I think now they do. But to sit on a bye week, that's no fun. It's just
Well,
not.
and it's a bye week at least going into the Florida game,
Yeah.
because that's really their big test after you lose to somebody like LSU, is you've got to turn around and play tough, hard-nosed, really hard-hitting Florida.
Florida's playing resurgent football right now.
And Florida's going to be gunning for Georgia, the big cocktail party thing.
I wouldn't want to be Florida right now. I wouldn't.
It could be a tough game. People could get hurt in this game.
Florida was chirping with Vanderbilt too.
Yeah.
They were losing by a big margin. I believe it was 21-3 early.
Right.
Vanderbilt up on Florida, and then Florida just turned it on late, and they really, really did. Offense, defense, special teams. They looked complete for a quarter and a half at the end. But it's still Vanderbilt, right?
It's still Vanderbilt.
Yeah,
A resurgent
Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt.
2
It's
weeks.
still Vanderbilt.
I like Vanderbilt, but Florida, good win. But this
anchor
game
down.
with Georgia is, I'm still all in on Georgia. Go Dogs.
Yeah, we'll find out about Georgia real quick in that
We
game.
will. Georgia, I guess Florida's the last real big test for them. I mean, Georgia Tech, that's not a test.
Well, I tell you, Furman crushed Wofford.
F you once, F you twice. Jay?
F you all the time.
Always.
And Furman's Clemson student, quarterback Harris, had 3 TDs.
I had to.
And, 34-14 is a resounding defeat. Furman was not supposed to win that game against Wofford.
Yeah.
And
That's true.
They got, mighty Samford coming up next. Mm-hmm. Furman, I think, turned the corner and should finish out the season doing pretty well.
Come on, Furman. Let's keep going. Get to a bowl.
Furman.
Do
Come
something.
on. Come on, Furman.
We love you.
We love you.
F you all the time.
All right. USC.
Meanwhile,
The Gamecocks lost
I can't stop today.
lost to A&M
By 3 points.
by 3 points in a
Yeah.
very tough, close game.
Yeah.
I watched, a fair little portion of this game and then went back and read up all about it, watched all the highlights, watched the Gamecocks show,
Yeah.
watched, their coach having to go through and explain what happened and all that. Carolina had every opportunity to beat Texas A&M. And,
Sure.
And just in the end couldn't produce at the right moment, at the right time.
Yeah.
Or hold A&M just long enough. And it seemed like those were the two most well-matched football teams.
It seemed like it. I saw a lot of mistakes in this
Right.
game.
Neither team is elite.
The defense was sort of Swiss cheese.
And both
Sometimes
teams,
it was salty and tasty. Other times it was just giant gaping holes. Kellermond had, I think, 360 yards passing. That's a lot.
they both seemed at times to look very good. And then at times not bad, just kind of mediocre. It's just the programs aren't at a point where either one of those teams it can be considered an elite team. And I think A&M, from what I've seen so far this season, is going to be quicker to rise to that elite team status than it looks like South Carolina is.
I said before I think Tennessee is the most improved team in the SEC, but I hate them so much. It's got to be Texas A&M. They're so much better
They're so much better.
and more quickly improved too.
And I think South Carolina suffers they're kind of, from a strength and a look standpoint, they're kind of the same team as last year.
No, I don't know who
And
they
I
are.
think-
I
I
don't
think they'll
get
be
it. When I
kind of
watch them play, I just don't get it. I don't know who they are. They don't have an identity. They talked about how they were going to run this crazy pace, and they haven't.
Right.
And they talked about Bentley, and he hasn't been outstanding. He hasn't played a full game in every game. Debo Samuel has been less than spectacular. I mean, not just not being targeted enough, but dropping passes.
And they're not bad. They're not a bad team.
They're not bad.
They're just not exceptional.
But week to week, how do you determine what to pick against the spread for them?
Right.
How do you know? I
But
mean,
they are
23-26. Did you expect that with
No,
Texas A&M visiting?
I sure didn't.
Uh-uh.
Now, I
Your
got
prediction was relatively good, though. You
Well-
said Missouri and Texas A&M, but yeah.
I think in the end they're going to lose definitely 2 more games, Florida and Clemson.
Okay.
Potentially a third game. But, are they going to be happy
But
if they lose Florida and Clemson and then end up at the end of the season?
are you kidding me? If they beat Clemson, you think anything else matters?
Well,
I know it's an enormous if, but come on. If they beat Clemson, they'll have a parade. Will Muschamp will get a raise and a contract extension.
Right. They're not going to be
Roosters
Clemson this
flowing
year.
through the streets.
They're going to get blown out by Clemson this year.
Also, Tennessee sucks.
Just throw that.
I feel like I haven't said that in a while. See, and that's another thing. You say you want, Gray, I want South Carolina to be competitive so that they make our strength of schedule look good. This is how you know. Tennessee can't even do Alabama the common decency of having a good strength of schedule for us to look good when we crush them by 4,000 points.
Well, if any of you out there are not on the iongreenville.net college pick'em thing, you need to get out there and get on it.
Somebody's got to beat Jay.
Somebody's got to beat me because there's 280 or so people involved in the weekly pick'em. iongreenville.net is giving away stuff each week and will for the end of the season. And as we sit right now, Gray Thompson's in 38th place out of almost 300 people, which is really pretty good. That's admirable.
Okay. It's admirable. Thank you. That's big of you, Jay.
Jay Spivey is in 8th place.
Tennessee is in 400th place.
400th place. But I think in 8th place, I'm even too far back that even if I want everything for the rest of the pick'ems, I don't know if I could catch
It's college football, man. Anything could happen. You just got to start going crazy on your picks. You picked the Rams, right?
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
I picked the Colorado Buffaloes,
Buffaloes, good grief.
Now, big games
Same
coming
state.
up this week. Michigan State. It's at Michigan State.
Michigan, big win in the big house against Wisconsin this past weekend.
Right. So, number
Turn it
6,
on
Michigan.
late.
Number 24, Michigan State. You know, that could be a close game. That could shake up the whole playoff picture a little bit.
I guess it could.
It could definitely knock Michigan out of having a chance.
Michigan right now has a chance. They have a competitive chance to win the Big Ten. I think they win this game.
Well, maybe so.
I think they do. Are you picking against me?
I'm picking against.
Damn it.
Another big game, Mississippi State is playing at LSU, and I think LSU, coming off this last game, is going to just beat the crap out of Mississippi State.
Death Valley, however you feel about which Death Valley is the real one, man, there is no mistaking that place is hard to play football, and their fans are loud in the middle of the day. They are drunk. They're rowdy. It's crazy. And Coach Joe, he don't let me. I love Coach Joe. He's a big old drunk.
He is something else.
He's fun, man. He's comic book.
He is comic book. He is a caricature of what an LSU coach ought to be.
I keep waiting for Spider-Man to, like, web sling in.
But this may tell us a good bit about LSU. They're going to be able to ride.
Will it? I don't think this one will.
I think, are they going to be able to ride high as a much favored team after really taking apart, Georgia by 20 points? That means they ought to be. You never know. Is this going to be a tight game with Mississippi State? Or is this going to be which LSU is going to show up?
Where is it there?
Don't you kids know anything?
Now,
LSU struggled against Georgia's run game. They really, really did. And then Georgia just decided, we're not going to run anymore. Gross.
Right.
Mississippi State has a quarterback who's better at running than passing. They have a good run game. They have some tight ends. They have options. I think this might be competitive. If Mississippi State is paying attention, Coach Moorhead was great at Penn State with running backs. It sets itself up to be a big upset.
Now,
but I don't think so.
Notre Dame's all of a sudden in the mix of everything.
Go Irish.
They virtually play no one. They don't have to worry about a conference championship.
They struggled with Pitt. They finally took the lead with about a minute left in the fourth quarter. It was a close game. It was a little bit too close, if you ask me. I was relatively very surprised at Pitt's competitiveness. But, now Notre Dame goes into a bye week.
Yeah, and they don't have really a big game on their schedule. But I tell you.
At SoCal?
I just don't think SoCal is that caliber.
They are at home.
Well,
they beat your Colorado Buffaloes, didn't they?
Yeah, but that's Colorado.
But.
I actually. I tell you the one game that Notre Dame needs to watch out for, I think it's their catch game, is Florida State.
You said that before, and I'm still not sure what to think about that. I know one thing though: Tennessee sucks.
Because I think Florida State has all the talent in the world. So, they could get up, and it could be like any other team in college football. They could be App State in this scenario. And if they play a great game with a lot of talent, they could beat Notre Dame. And I think that's going to be the one game that Notre Dame needs to watch out for. I kind of hope Notre Dame now does make the playoffs, because if you don't like Tennessee, I'm sorry.
I hate to interrupt. I don't not like Tennessee, Jay. I hate them.
And see, I kind of feel that way about Notre Dame.
So gross. You don't hate them that much.
I don't hate them that much, but I dislike.
And they don't hate you that much. Tennessee hates me.
The gold domes of Notre Dame. I kind of, I guess it's good from a nationwide TV audience standpoint to have them in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I kind of want them to be in the playoffs.
I don't know, is it? Because that would mean 2 conferences would be left out.
Well,
and right
it wouldn't
now,
be your conference or my conference, so I'm not worried about it right now.
My conference?
SEC.
I was going with All-American, the Patriot League. How about that?
ACC. Yeah, it definitely makes it to where if Notre Dame's in, UCF ain't there.
UCF, speaking of which, was getting torched by Memphis and brought it on late. They held Memphis to 0 in the second half for a big surprise of a game that I thought was going to be a bit more lopsided in UCF's favor, but that was a big rematch from their games that they had together last year, and it wasn't boring. Right? I was right about that. It was not boring.
Now, if there is one team who I really despise their coach, it's Ohio State.
Yeah, that's true.
And to be honest...
Speaking of which, did you hear that Nick Bosa is not going to play anymore?
Why?
He just announced it. He's focusing on recovering from his injury and the NFL, so he's not coming back to OSU. I'm sorry, the OH.
I'm not going to say it.
No? I-O. I know it's hard to remember the letters, but
there's only, and I'm not against Ohio State, the institution,
sure,
because it gave us Jack Nicklaus, who may be the greatest man that's ever walked the planet. But I am such an
Galloway,
thug, Meyer person. I cannot stand that guy.
Yeah.
I can't stand the way his voice sounds. I can't stand the way his face looks. I can't stand the 50s flat top haircut. There is nothing about Urban Meyer that I think is a positive thing for the state of Ohio, the country, or Buckeye fans. And I'm sorry I feel that way. I just do.
He's once again having trouble with his health. And I'm not trying to rub salt on their wounds at all. Ohio State, to me, still looks very strong. Losing Nick Bosa is a big deal, but I think Ohio State's still one of the most competitive teams in the country. I don't know that... Look, however much you hate Urban Meyer, I don't want to see him die. I just don't want to see him have real big problems because of not being able to handle this stress well. That is something that you should be able to manage and teach other people how to manage better.
Well, Ohio State's going to be in the mix. I mean,
they're in it now.
I don't foresee anybody taking them down in their conference.
Okay. That's a hot take.
Outside of that, I really don't. There's not really a bunch of other things that I see going on this week that I'm kind of excited about college football-wise.
Any of the other top losses? West Virginia looked atrocious on the road at Iowa State.
They did look atrocious.
Texas with a big win. Looks like they're going to be competitive. That's so funny. You know what's funnier than Texas being back?
Hook 'em horns.
Texas's back is almost as funny as Tennessee sucks.
I want
Go
Texas.
to hell, Tennessee.
I want Texas to do well because I think it helps national football from a college standpoint.
Okay.
Just like you kind of want Oklahoma to do well. Like, I would love nothing more than Frost at Nebraska to turn that program around so that Nebraska becomes a better team.
We'd like that. Now, I'll keep this short. Another tough one for Nebraska, going for it on 4th down that they shouldn't have had to do. That game that they didn't get at the beginning of the season. And, Nebraska's still going to hold on to Frost. It's fine. I just really expected more from them this season simply because of Frost, and they're not getting it.
Yeah,
and they need more competition in that league. So.
I always want to see Oregon do well because I feel like
Oregon did do well. That was one of my locks of the week. They beat Washington. It came down to the end, and they probably shouldn't have won because of a missed field goal. But go Ducks.
God,
get 'em.
And the best glow-in-the-dark uniforms I've seen in a long time.
They sure do look like Happy Halloween uniforms for children, but I like it.
Listen,
I don't want it, but I like it, and I hate Tennessee.
When the Clemson coaching staff reviews this podcast, which they do each week.
Is that right?
I would like to say to the Clemson coaching staff and to IPTE, and to anybody else associated with Clemson.
It's us.
Oregon has cool, out there, glow-in-the-dark uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
That does not mean, Clemson people, that we need to ever do that.
They typically don't.
Let's let Oregon do that, and don't ever think in the future that you're going to end up doing some mirrored helmet with some kind of tiger painting on it.
You don't like the chrome?
No.
Look,
Clemson
I
needs
pay
to stick
attention
with
to this
Clemson.
stuff maybe more than I should. Clemson, usually when there's a stripe on a helmet, it's a sticker.
Yeah.
Ohio State, they look the best in week 1 because they have no stickers.
Right.
That's a personal choice. I understand the sticker stuff. I don't love stickers. That's just me. Clemson sticks, their stripe down the center of the helmet is painted on.
Yeah.
They're committed to their look. You don't have to like the colors. I think they look great. I love when they're white and orange. Man, I love the white. But
Oh, let me tell you.
they don't mess around with their unis. They don't need to. It's
Is this one of those games
What?
where either the it's all orange or all
Orange.
purple or all purple?
Oh, purple I would go for, but this is Tennessee
No, I
Heat
mean-
Week. I don't know if I mentioned this,
but
but Tennessee
NC
sucks.
But the
that
Clemson
orange.
NC State game, does Clemson do one of their special uniforms for the NC State game?
Did you see West Virginia? They looked like ninjas. They were dressed in black. I wanted to remind them, that's not your color. Like, what are you doing?
The blackout at West Virginia.
It didn't, and this was on the road.
I know,
Clemson doesn't
right.
do that. You don't have to do that. I like the chrome helmets, but it depends on the team, and it's not for Clemson.
But I
Once you
think,
start doing that stuff, that's how you recruit players. Clemson,
Right.
Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, they don't do that stuff. Tennessee has had some atrocious outfits before trying to do these specialty uniforms. They did those gray uniforms. It just looked like they were dirty, which is Tennessee. They low down, and they dirty,
They're
and they
low
a
down.
bunch of snitches.
I just think this may be, from a hype standpoint, does Clemson bring out a special uniform for NC State?
They have certainly not announced anything like that, and I don't think they
usually
should
don't.
either.
There's another thing going around about the NC State game, and that is,
Tennessee sucks.
besides Tennessee sucks, it's that Clemson be quiet until the gun goes off when they run down the hill.
Is that right?
And there's only been a couple of times in my life, one that I witnessed long ago where that happened.
Wait, what? They're asking the crowd to be quiet?
And they would include the band and everybody. Long ago, there was a Notre Dame game.
Huh.
And this is back when Notre Dame was coming to Clemson. Year or two after Clemson, year or two before Clemson won the national championship.
Which one?
And
You're going to have to be more specific.
And Dan Devine, complained about Clemson's crowd being too loud, and he hopes that they mind their manners and control themselves. So
Did you see Wake Forest coach complain about the band this week too?
when Notre
Pathetic.
Dame, when everything was assembled and the band came out, getting ready to play and march up and then line up at the goalpost, it was all silent.
Huh.
No crowd
Silent.
noise. The band pretended to play.
That's impressive.
They had
Pretended.
Literally horns up. Did all their marching like they normally do. Cheerleaders, everything lined up for them to run down the hill, and it was dead silent until the cannon went off and they ran down the hill and the crowd went nuts.
Oh man, I would love to be at that game in dead silence, and I would just say this: Tennessee sucks.
So I'm kind of thinking
I
there's
wouldn't
gonna be
believe that's
something.
possible, but after seeing Alabama bring back Dixieland Delight, the whole crowd singing it, and they sang it right. It was powerful stuff, inspiring stuff.
Yeah.
Tradition survives. Thank you, AD Greg Byrne. Well done. Roll Tide.
What's the Tennessee fight song?
Who cares? I puke on you, you puke on me, we puke on each other. You don't have to be lonely at cousinsonly.com.
But do know out there that,
That's their song.
that both Gray Thompson and I speak with one voice when I
I
say
get knocked out.
that we love Brock Koonce,
I love Brock Koonce.
even though he's a Tennessee fan, and we mean no personal insult to Brock Koonce.
He
'cause
knows
he's
what this game is about.
he's
and
a wonderful
He was
man.
at Tennessee when they were kicking our butts.
Yeah.
People forget that Alabama wasn't bad. They were atrocious. Hell, I would argue they were worse than Tennessee for longer.
What was
we had
that,
Scandal,
What was that
we
team?
had-
Northern Illinois
Go on.
that beat Bama or something
Huh?
back in the day?
Southern Miss?
No, it was some.
You mean
anyway.
before Saban?
Yeah.
We were losing to everybody. And
Wow.
Tennessee beat us for like 9 years in a row. Philip Fulmer just out there just chortling like he was Gary Daniels. Just not Gary Daniels, good grief. Vern.
So.
Sorry, Phil.
how do-
I don't care about you either.
So
Hate
one last time, how do you feel about Tennessee?
They're good. They're okay. No, I hate them. They're so bad.
All right, we're gonna wrap this
I
up.
smell them from here, man. It makes me sick.
We're gonna wrap this up. We'd love to thank Fellow. We're
thank
sitting
you
in
very
here.
much.
We just had lunch. You need to come here and eat the shrimp po' boy. Holy cow! It is comfort food wrapped
Enormous
in a
shrimp. That sauce, whatever it is, sure is good.
bun. So come in here. They got great beer, great food, great staff, and we're in here often. So come find us. You know, anything you want to close out with?
Do you know the last time Tennessee beat Alabama? The iPhone hadn't been born yet.
Really?
I thought you would know all this because you're like 300 years old.
Well, no. I mean, I'm older than the iPhone, definitely.
MySpace was a big thing.
What is the iPhone again?
The iPhone is this thing that you can use to tell people how much you hate Tennessee.
So this is almost back
Tennessee sucks.
when MySpace and Friendster.
Friendster. I don't know that one, man. You're kind of creeping me out.
All right, that's back when AOL was big.
It's still kind of big.
Tennessee. Because first of all, it's Tennessee, and I just hate them because they low down.
They dirty.
They some snitches.
Yeah, they are.
Snitches.
And I hate Philip Fulmer. I hate their colors.
Oh my God.
Phil Fulmer getting in the way. Oh,
All right.
You know they're going to try some stuff. I know they're going to try some stuff. I hope we try everything except Tua. I don't think we need to play him. Alabama's favorite. It's like 98% right now. The line wasn't out because everybody was not sure about Tua's health. And I'm
Well,
not sure it matters even if he is healthy.
I don't think
he
it
should
matters.
sit. The injury he has is his muscle. It's not a
Can't
ligament.
win the Heisman from the bench.
Tennessee just lost another linebacker with a torn ACL. I hate Tennessee, but I don't like to see that happen to anybody ever.
All right, let's wrap this up.
Can we not talk for another hour?
No.
Just loop it. I hate Tennessee. Tennessee
We're going to
sucks.
see y'all next week.
So bad.
You'll listen to us. We might even, before the end of the season, do a video of this and release it. Definitely during rivalry week. We're going to do a Facebook Live.
If we do video, we're going to have to wear pants.
We're going to do, well, shh. Velo makes us wear pants. So,
Yeah, but you don't listen.
all right, we'll see y'all next week.
Better be. Beat Tennessee. You suck.
So.